So the biggest failing that Christians have when they read their own book is that they take what they life today, their culture today, and try to make it fit into their Bible. No, 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 sir. No, sir. No, sir. According to the people who wrote the Bible in the 9th century BCE and their ideas on culture, sex outside of marriage is not a sin when two regular people have sex. I'm going to break this down to you. First, let me tell you what they thought back then, and then give you the examples of it. Because obviously, y'all study this Bible and y'all think that how you think today is how they were thinking back then, and that is far from the truth. And if you're saying otherwise, then what you have to say is that the Bible is errant, or you have to say that man was so stupid back then that they couldn't conceptualize what God really was wanting, and now y'all know all of a sudden. Nobody else knew, but y'all know today what it is, which is utter bullshit. So let me break it down to you. The first thing, sex, as far as the Bible is concerned, what they thought back then is the moment two people, man and a woman who are single, have sex, they be willing, consensual sex, let me be clear, consensual sex, they were married. There is no such thing as sex outside the Bible when it's two single people who are consenting to have sex. They are then married. That is the marriage, not the judge, not the paperwork that y'all are so caught up into today. None of that is marriage. The two having sex consensually in agreement to be with each other, that's marriage. Number two, when now if a man takes advantage of a young woman, then that is rape. If she's not consensual, that's rape. But if he pays the bride price, they are then married because they had sex and he paid the money. They're married. Number three, if a man has sex with a woman who has already been betrothed or who is married, then that man committed adultery. If the woman consents, she also committed adultery. If the woman does not consent, but are in the city and does not scream out, then she has committed adultery, must be stoned. If she screams out, then she has not committed adultery. If they're out in the countryside, then only the man has committed adultery. It doesn't matter if the woman was consensual or not. They had no idea about women going into shock when these sorts of things happen. So that part. Now, if a man has sex with a woman who is married and she agrees, then they both have committed adultery. So they both must be, they're both sinning. Why is this? Because they looked at it as the woman is the property of the husband or the father. And you have now violated one of those 10 commandments that got broken, which is to steal another man's property or covet another man's property. So the woman is merely property to them in those days because they had to control a woman's sex, because she is the only one that you know who the baby came from. So if a woman was having sex with multiple men, you wouldn't really know whose baby. And you don't want to give your inheritance money to somebody who is not your child. It was all about controlling women's sexual proclivities, sexual habits, and able to control the man's money and inheritance. That's all it was about. So sex, there is no sex before marriage. There is no sex outside of marriage and it being a sin. Sex is not a sin in any shape or form. Let me rephrase that. Sex is not a sin in its essence. It is only relative to the situation that sex then becomes a sin. And examples of it, Judah had no problems having sex with who he thought was a temple prostitute. There wasn't a sin, not at all. And when Judah was saying that Tamar was more righteous than him, he wasn't talking about the fact that he had sex with her when he thought she was a temple priest. He was talking about the fact that he had promised her his last son and he had not delivered. That is what he was saying. But when he thought that she had sex and she was supposed to be waiting, all of a sudden she was sinful. I want you to think about that. He got some good poom poom from the prostitute. Not a sin. She got pregnant from that encounter, He thought she had sex with another man that wasn't in his line. Now she's sinning. Because what is it about? It's about that money. It wasn't about nothing else. The Israelite men who went and had sex with the Moabite women, because the Moabite women had that good poom poom. And then Moses had all of the Moabite people genocided. Did he genocide them because they had sex? No. He genocided them because they started worshiping the gods of the Moabites. Because that poom poom was just that good. You see what I'm saying? So get out of your own way and trying to force this to fit your culture today. That's what they thought back then. And as far as men and women using it as a weapon, you only have a few instances where a woman used her poom poom back in those days. And that was your story of Esther one night with the king. She gave the king that good poom poom and she became the queen so she can save her people. She prostituted herself to the king, basically, so that she can save her people. And that poom poom was so great that she saved her people. Just told you about Tamara. But there really aren't any other stories where a woman was using it. Now, in today's world, do people utilize sex as a weapon? Of course. Do they try to control each other's sexuality? Of course. But back then, it was all the men just trying to control a woman. So y'all have a great day. And stay away from that Moabite poom poom, though. But y'all have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.